Writing. The morning sunlight spilled across the glass walls of the downtown office tower, making everything appear brighter than it truly was. Employees laughed over coffee, keyboards clicked in perfect rhythm, and life seemed ordinary, until one simple question shattered the silence inside a man's heart. No one expected the answer. No one imagined that behind the calm smile of the quiet single father stood years of sacrifice, loneliness, and a promise that had quietly cost him every chance at happiness. But when his boss looked into his tired eyes and gently wondered why someone as kind as him refused to date anyone, the truth that followed left her unable to hold back her tears. Sometimes the strongest people carry the deepest pain without ever asking the world to notice. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, sacrifice, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the Kindness Tales Story channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world compassion still exists. Every morning before sunrise, Nolan Mercer woke in the small apartment he shared with his 8-year-old daughter, Wren. The apartment was modest but spotless, filled with carefully repaired furniture, colorful drawings taped to the refrigerator, and tiny reminders that love could make even the simplest place feel like home. Nolan prepared breakfast before waking Wren, braided her hair after watching dozens of online tutorials, packed her lunch with handwritten notes, and smiled as though none of it required effort. Yet every movement carried the weight of exhaustion. He had learned to survive on little sleep and endless determination ever since losing his wife 4 years earlier during a sudden illness that turned their peaceful family life upside down in a matter of weeks. Most people at the company knew Nolan as the dependable operations manager who never complained, never missed deadlines, and always volunteered to help struggling coworkers. Few realized that every lunch break was spent calling schools, arranging doctor appointments, comparing grocery prices, or answering messages from babysitters. His workday never truly ended because another full-time job waited at home. Raising Wren alone demanded every ounce of his strength, but he refused to let her feel the emptiness left behind by her mother's absence. His employer, Serena Ashcroft, admired Nolan long before she understood him. As the owner of the rapidly growing company, Serena had built a reputation for intelligence, fairness, and impossible standards. She noticed details others overlooked. She noticed Nolan staying late to finish projects before rushing out exactly at 5 every afternoon. She noticed he politely declined every invitation to office parties, weekend retreats, and holiday gatherings. She noticed coworkers trying to introduce him to friends, only for him to smile warmly before changing the subject. Rumors naturally spread through the office. Some believed Nolan secretly disliked relationships. Others assumed he had never moved on from his loss. A few insisted he simply enjoyed being alone. Serena never believed any of those explanations. She sensed something much deeper hidden beneath his quiet eyes. One bright spring afternoon, after the office celebrated another successful quarter, employees gathered in the cafeteria for lunch. Laughter echoed through the room while sunlight streamed through enormous windows overlooking the city skyline. Serena watched Nolan packing leftovers into a container instead of joining the celebration. She finally walked over, hoping to understand the man everyone respected but almost no one truly knew. She asked him why he never accepted invitations, why he always hurried home, and whether he had ever considered dating again. The question was gentle, almost casual, yet it froze the room inside Nolan's heart. He looked toward the window where children played in the park below. For several long moments he said nothing. Then he quietly admitted that dating required giving someone time, attention, emotional energy, and hope. Every one of those belonged to his daughter now. He explained that Wren had already lost one parent. He refused to let her ever feel like she had to compete for the love of the only parent she had left. He revealed that several wonderful women had shown interest over the years, but every invitation arrived during school plays, doctor appointments, homework nights, or bedtime stories. Choosing romance meant choosing less time with Wren. To many people that sacrifice might seem reasonable. To Nolan, it felt impossible. His voice remained steady as he confessed the promise he had whispered to his wife during her final days. He had promised that no matter how difficult life became, Wren would always know she came first. Every birthday, every scraped knee, every school recital, every nightmare after midnight, every laugh, every tear, he would be there. He feared breaking that promise more than spending the rest of his life alone. Serena felt her heart sink. She had expected hesitation, perhaps lingering grief, but not such complete devotion. She realized the lonely man everyone pitied had never been running away from love. He had been protecting the one person who depended on him completely. From that afternoon onward, Serena saw Nolan differently. She noticed the faded jacket he continued wearing because new clothes for himself always came after buying shoes for Ren. She noticed how carefully he calculated grocery expenses during lunch breaks. She noticed him secretly repairing broken office furniture instead of requesting replacements because wasting resources bothered him. Kindness seemed woven into everything he did. One afternoon Serena accidentally arrived at the neighborhood library while attending a community event. There she saw Nolan sitting cross-legged on the children's reading carpet surrounded by excited kids. Ren rested happily against his shoulder while he read adventure stories with dramatic voices that made every child laugh. Parents smiled from nearby chairs, amazed at how naturally he made every child feel included. Serena stayed hidden behind a bookshelf, witnessing a side of Nolan no office meeting could ever reveal. The tired employee transformed into a father whose entire world revolved around one little girl. Weeks later, Ren became seriously ill with pneumonia. Nolan spent several sleepless nights beside her hospital bed, answering work emails between medical updates while trying not to show fear. When Serena discovered where he was, she quietly arranged paid leave without requiring paperwork, covered his responsibilities herself, and instructed the company never to contact him until Ren recovered. Nolan expected criticism for disappearing during an important business project. Instead, Serena simply told him that companies could recover from delayed meetings, but children only remembered whether their parents were there when they were afraid. Those words stayed with Nolan long after Ren returned home healthy. Months passed. The company culture slowly changed under Serena's leadership. Flexible schedules expanded, parents received greater support, family events became normal rather than inconvenient. Employees noticed a warmer workplace without realizing one quiet father had inspired much of it. Life remained challenging. Bills still arrived. Ren still missed her mother. Nolan still carried invisible grief. Yet small acts of kindness slowly replaced hopelessness with gratitude. One sunny Saturday afternoon, the company organized a family picnic at a beautiful riverside park. Children played soccer while parents shared homemade meals beneath blooming trees. Ren nervously entered an art competition using recycled materials she and Nolan had collected over several weeks. Her colorful sculpture represented a lighthouse standing through powerful storms. When judges announced first place, Ren looked around searching only for her father. Nolan rushed across the grass, lifting her into the air while tears filled both their eyes. The applause surrounding them meant nothing compared to that single joyful embrace. Serena watched quietly from a distance. She finally understood that Nolan had never measured success through promotions, expensive cars, or romantic relationships. His greatest achievement stood laughing in his arms beneath the afternoon sunshine. That evening Serena visited the memorial garden where her own parents rested. She reflected on her demanding career and years spent believing success required sacrificing personal connections. Watching Nolan had taught her something business schools never could. Real wealth was measured by the people who felt safe because of your love. She returned to work determined to become not only a better executive but a better human being. Time continued moving forward. Ren grew more confident at school, making friends and discovering a passion for painting. Nolan slowly smiled more often. The sadness never disappeared completely, but it no longer controlled every moment. His wife's memory became less about unbearable loss and more about quiet gratitude for the years they had shared. One afternoon Ren handed her father a folded piece of paper after school. Inside was an essay titled, "My Hero." She had written that heroes were not people with superpowers. Heroes woke up before sunrise to make pancakes shaped like stars even when they were tired. Heroes learned to braid messy hair after watching countless videos. Heroes clapped the loudest during school performances, fixed broken bicycles, read bedtime stories every night, and hugged children until scary dreams disappeared. She ended the essay by writing that her father probably believed he was raising her alone, but every single day he also taught her how to become kind, brave, and strong. Nolan could no longer hold back his tears. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to believe he had kept the promise he made. He had not given Ren a perfect childhood. He had given her something far more valuable. He had given her certainty that she would never face the world without unconditional love. As seasons changed again, Serena invited Nolan to lunch one final time. There was no discussion about dating, no awkward questions, and no expectations. Instead, she thanked him. She thanked him for teaching an entire company that compassion was not weakness. She thanked him for reminding successful adults that children remember presents far longer than presents. Most of all, she thanked him for proving that quiet sacrifices often become the greatest acts of love anyone will ever witness. Nolan simply smiled. The loneliness still existed. The grief still visited unexpected moments. The future remained uncertain, but hope had quietly returned. Not because life suddenly became easy. Because kindness had found him exactly when he needed it most. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Tales Story. Your support encourages us to keep bringing meaningful stories that remind the world love, compassion, and hope are always worth believing in. Special request. Before this story ends, please comment below. A parent's love never gives up. We'd love to read your thoughts and honor every parent making quiet sacrifices every single day. Sometimes the world believes love is found in grand romances or unforgettable moments. Yet the purest love often lives quietly in ordinary mornings, packed lunches, bedtime stories, and promises kept without applause. Long after promotions are forgotten and titles disappear, the people we loved with our whole hearts become the true story our lives leave behind. And somewhere, beneath another bright daytime sky, a little girl continued walking beside her father, never realizing that the greatest hero she would ever know had been holding her hand all along.